Hello, Michael. Thanks a lot for
Hi.
accepting this invitation for this interview. For the person that don't know you yet, maybe it will be great that you could please introduce yourself with a simple question like what is your background and which are the best collaborations you are proud of?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's nice to meet you too. Um, I'm based out of Los Angeles, and our studio it specializes in taking brands, companies, uh, artists, personalities, and realizing them in a physical space. We've been doing it for about 10 years, and I'm one of the co-founders. I have two business partners, and we have a team. To do the League of Legends show that you just saw, we had a team of over 40 people working on it, so quite big team.
Right.
And this year, of course, has been a very difficult year to do all of those things. As you know, if you're an event producer, you well know that
Yeah,
this has
of
been a
course.
very challenging time to do it, right?
Definitely.
Um, yeah, so uh, we we're a studio that's sort of industry agnostic. Um, the creative that can be applied is independent of whether it's a musician or an esport or anything like that. There's a process that you can apply to come up with interesting design solutions, and that's what we're known for. There's not really a secret sauce; it's just something that we've been doing for a long time, right? And iterating.
I
Um,
understand.
so, uh, for that reason, we work with very big pop stars like Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande. But at the same time, we're working with esports. At the same time, we're working with traditional sports like the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of different ways you can go when you try to take your craft and make it industry agnostic, and
Yeah.
that's really what we set out to do.
And each one got some challenge anyway, so it's
Yeah,
always a
exactly,
new thing.
exactly.
Perfect. So thank you, Michael. We will maybe start to talk about the show. I want to discuss about the semifinals show that you create with Riot. How much time did it take between the first ideas and the final execution for this kind of show?
Yeah, we started working on League of Legends is actually it's a touring show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Olympics where the ambition initially in China had been to travel to, different like Chengdu, Guangzhou, Beijing, like to do a different leg in each different city. But because this year's challenges um, made it logistically impossible to do something like that, we have been working with Riot Games for many years at this point, and
Okay.
we work together to come up with a solution. And one of them is if we can't bring those cities, if we can't go to those cities, maybe we could bring those cities to us. So one technology that's been at the forefront that we've been very involved with is this kind of extended reality, is what we call it, right? But it's
Of course.
turning these LEDs into a window rather than just a flat screen. So we began making this turn probably around May or June,
Okay.
something like that. Um, and you've researched and seen these four different shows because it's not just semis, right? It's play-ins, groups, quarters, and semis. It's like four different legs of the tournament.
Yeah.
And what was really important is not to come up with an independent solution for each one of these, but that there's a through line throughout all four. So uh, usually, we have to make it specific to this game so that no other game can copy it. And one thing that was unique to season 10, this is the 10th year of League of Legends, was the dragon. The dragon mechanic is different this season.
Yeah,
And the
just incredible.
dragons, yeah, they're based off of different elements. So we made each stage based off of different elements. So play-ins was earth. Um, the group stage was cloud or air. So we put the stage in the clouds. And then quarters was water. And then semis was fire. So that we kind of used these four elements as the through line throughout, and then wrap that in another layer of extended reality to deliver something that's cohesive and exciting for the fans.
Okay, so you will say it takes between May and October, so it's like approximately 6 months to create all the atmosphere, the images, and to place them on the show, approximately.
Correct.
So
Yep.
how many people involved in the project? For example, for the semifinals, the game with the screens will evolve on the right, on the left. You see, with the augmented reality of Shanghai, which was in the background. How many people were involved in that project?
So it depends how we define the project. To do the extended reality portion, we had between 40 and 50 people working on it, and they
Okay.
are craftspeople that range from people who work in Unreal Engine, video game assets, technicians, LED operators, camera tracking people. But the whole production itself had a lot of people in the soundstage running it, which is what you would find with any production, as you know, right?
Of course.
There's people that live with it for that many months, and then there's people where you scale up to 2 or 3 times that amount of people just operate it and move desks. And
Yeah.
this is the thing that happens with this environment. It's like virtual production, but there's nothing virtual about it. It was very real production happening in a real
Definitely.
place with real desks. So yeah.
I understand. And from your point of view, in this kind of show, which technology brings the creative jump, and how?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the challenge here was that it fused so many different ones. So the camera was actually functioning like a projector, where it was projecting onto the LED the perspective that it wanted to see. So if there was a pillar, you could
Yeah.
move the camera and see around the pillar, and it would show you that. But at some point, the LED ends, and it's the sound stage. So what we did was we composited a layer of augmented reality on top to make it look like the set never ended. So it's fusing all of these different technologies at once is kind of a challenging thing to do, and it's never been done before at this scale. There's some, you'll see it on a performance like maybe a Eurovision type thing, or
Yeah,
there's a
of
lot of
course.
shows over here where you see a 2-minute performance, but our set was broadcasting for 10 full days, 240 hours of 32K resolution, 60 frames per second. So it's never been done this way before. And we had 4 simultaneous cameras going, broadcasting live. It's really challenging. Can you still hear? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, okay,
You
perfect.
cut
I
out for
don't
a
know what's
second.
happened, but it's fine.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah.
It's the live. It's the live.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand. But you seems to know very well everything about the
Yeah.
technology. In first, normally you organize all the projects, and how it how do you know everything about the resolutions? It's who decide what kind of resolution for the screens, or it's a relationship with Riot, and who decide for what kind of part of the
Okay. So
show?
there's my role is a creative producer on the show, so I need to know both from a creative standpoint and a technical standpoint how everything works because it's so
Yeah,
interlinked. Um,
of course.
so Possible acts as an agency for Riot Games, and we bring in subject matter experts to be able to facilitate on things that we don't know about. But there was nothing about the show that we knew everything about, like every spec by the end of it, because you have to know LED spec, the networking, the diagrams. You have to know everything. And then you're going to China to do it in the middle of a pandemic. So it's international, and you can't bring in other people, limited amount of visas. So you really have to
Yeah.
know. But we did it in partnership with another company called Lux Machina. And you may
Okay.
have heard of them, but they worked on Star Wars's The Mandalorian, and they're very
Yeah.
experienced with
Okay.
this kind of extended reality stuff. So we handled a lot of the content, and then they helped to bridge things for the integration of how it would function on set. But we both had the same amount of knowledge about the project in the end because
Yeah,
it's
I
quite
understand.
technical.
Could we play a game, Michael? I suggest you a game,
Sure.
really simple one. I will show you some images of the semifinals show, and you will tell me some things about it. What technology do you use for this part, and what were the challenge you face on about everything on the project? So let me just share my screen. So at that moment here, wait for it. I will take the not stuff. Okay, you see that part here? Uh, In what material is it? And is this projection or is it
That's
something else?
yeah, that's LED. So the
Okay.
floor is LED, and then the three walls that you see, sort of.
Okay.
Can I draw on this? Let me see. I can do annotate, right? Yeah. So this is what you're seeing right here. This is wall number 1.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
wall number 2, and then this is wall number 3.
It's like a lead cave.
Yep, and then this is the floor. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. You can walk normally in a LED screen, no problem.
Yeah, it's actually, think about it as working on a green screen stage, except you can actually see the environment that's around you.
Okay, here we go. Here it's really I don't really understand some stuff. Like we got the LED screen on the left, the LED screen on the left, in
Mhm.
the background on the right. Um, but this wave effect is created
Mhm.
just with images on the LED screens or with augmented reality as well.
Yeah, so again, this area that I'm highlighting in yellow, this is all the LED walls,
Yeah.
and then this is the LED floor. And then everything on the outside, if I change my color to something else, maybe like this pink. So everything that's outside of it, all of this stuff around the frame, this entire area out here
Okay.
is
Okay.
actually all augmented reality that's composited on top of the image.
Okay.
So if you didn't have that, what you would be seeing is a soundstage out here, basically.
But the image go through virtual reality and augmented reality as well. So what I don't understand is like uh, here we are in augmented reality, and here we are in virtual reality. But this is the same image, right? So
Yes.
by computing, how does it work for create the same images in augmented and in virtual in the same time, like without latency, to create the same image? It just look amazing. I don't understand how do you produce this kind of images.
Yeah, so we had 20 machines, very high-end machines running Unreal Engine, and they were all working in sync. And some of them were working on processing the imagery that would go to the LED screens, and some of them were working on imagery that was going to augmented reality. But they were all looking through the same camera. It was just broken up to different machines. So that's how we were able to get one consistent image to live on both the LED screen and augmented reality. Um, yeah, it pre-distorts the image so that it looks like one continuous environment.
Okay, and the actors on scene just see what happened on the LED screens, right?
Yeah. So they can't see, sky above them, or if
Yeah,
they're
of course.
looking at us, they're just seeing kind of a technical workspace. But um, they just have to act, and then once we're done filming it, they can watch it back and understand where it is. Now they can see, there's that platform that they're supposed to stand on. They
Okay,
can see that. If they look down, they can see that there's a platform they need to stand on.
I
So yeah, that's a good way for them to zigzag and follow it without putting down too many markers.
it's really really amazing. How many time it takes for comedians to prepare the show? Because the hardest part is to prepare a choreography, which is in the same time than the images.
Um, the choreography, we we had that several weeks in advance,
Okay,
so we already knew generally where they were going to be, and we had to model the animation off of where they were going to be. So
okay,
I would say it took us several weeks to plan that.
okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
there you see. So if you look up, you see just a grid of lights.
what happened with the light? It go through. You use the light in the images, or you turn off totally the light. I don't understand how you work with the light and images. It's like how do you do
Yeah.
it?
So there's a couple things to consider here. That lighting grid above
Yeah.
is to act as supplemental lighting for the people that are on the stage. So the people that are on the stage are being lit by
Okay.
that lighting grid.
Okay.
And we have one way is that we've actually taken the lighting from our video game world and we've actually put it into the grid. Sometimes that doesn't look that correct though, so the lighting designer can kind of override that and dial in their own lights. But the augmented reality is just composited over the top so you can't see it. So those lights are what's actually lighting the scene here. So you see the desk or those players walking around, they're
Yeah.
being lit by that lighting grid.
Okay. And last question about the show. That part here is like the comedians enter in something, and it's like decoration, or it's always just creation, augmented reality, and there is nothing.
Yeah, it's just augmented reality again. So this
Okay.
elevator here is it's not actually there. She's just walking, she's just standing on LED.
Okay.
And when the doors close on her, we can tell the computer make sure that these doors close on top of her to hide her.
Okay. And the
But
computer either.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's really nice, really impressive. Okay, other question. Can you tell us about the effective cost of this project for the imagery part and maybe for other parts if you know about it?
Yeah, so part of the non-disclosure agreement we have with Riot Games is I can't talk about the budgets for that, but
Okay,
you can kind of extrapolate based off of we worked for several months on it. So if you're trying to get order of magnitude, that's the kind of commitment you need to make.
okay, understand. Well, like for 40 people for 6 months to create this kind of images and to integrate it in the show in China. So we'll take it. It costs probably a lot.
Mhm.
What's next for you? Any new project or challenge for possible
Yeah,
entertainment and stuff?
we are continuing to push this technology forward. So you'll probably be seeing more projects from us that experiment with new things that we can do. When we were on the stage in China, we would always be discovering new things every day. So we're looking forward to finding out more of what we can do with this technology and storytelling. And it's really quite powerful, especially in the age of COVID, because you're able to create this work without, needing so many people on set.
Of course. How do you see the future of entertainment for you? Like, do you think working as well for event organizations for other stuff? You already did for the Super Bowl. Maybe in Europe as well. You have some options, something on the table.
We'd love to, yeah. That's something that we just want to collaborate and work with really good people who have high ambitions. So, last year we did League of Legends in Paris
Mm-hmm.
for the world's final, but I think this year it's just a little tricky to get over there because of travel restrictions. But
Of course,
I'm hoping we can return to a world where both you and I are very familiar with live events and being able to like bring people together. So,
it will
um,
be great. It will be
yeah,
great. What was the most challenging stuff you ever work on in terms on imagery and
Yeah, I think this one was probably the hardest one
yeah,
for a number of reasons. Like, I think in terms of technology, it was the most advanced, but then also from a logistics standpoint, having to go abroad and then there's no support that you can get. You only have the team that went with you, and with all of the restrictions around coronavirus, it just made everything extremely difficult. So this was by far the most challenging thing.
okay, I understand. Well, I will not take it more time of you. Thank you for your time, Michael. I kept you in touch when I will saw the next game on the next League of Legends finals. I will probably write you an email to see if I can get an interview for the new show. But so thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you soon. Up well for the next project for possible.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye bye, Michael.
Bye.